Kenya National Innovation Agency, 23, Kenya National Trading Corporation Limited, 24, Keroka Technical Training Institute,
25, Kipchoba Tea Factory Limited, 26, Koitalel Samoei University College, 27, Konza Technopolis Development Authority, 28, Movement for Democracy and Growth Party, 29, Mukeo Vocational Training Center, 30, Nairobi Center for International Arbitration, 31, National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme, 32, National Environment Trust Fund, 33, National Environment Complaints Committee, 34, National Heroes Council, 35, National Police Service Commission, 36, National Research Crime Center, 37, New Kenya Cooperative Creameries Limited, 38, New Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, PLC, 39, Olesos National Polytechnic, 40, People's Democratic Party, PDP, 41, Power Distribution Last Mile Connectivity Project, EFD, credit number 1106 01F/CKE 1106 02G and 1EB, credit number F1 85348, Kenya Power and Lightning Company PLC. 42, President's Award Kenya. 43, Rural Electrification Scheme, Kenya Power and Lightning Company PLC. 44, State Department for Environment and Climate Change. 45, State Department for ICT and Digital Economy. 46, State House. 47, Tana River Technical and Training College. 48, Taveta Technical and Vocational College. And 49, United Progressive Alliance, UPA. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Joseph Gitari, member for Kirinyaga Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker. I have a request for a statement regarding unlawful detention of a Kenyan in Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations regarding the alleged unlawful detention of Mr. Charles Modi Mago in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Charles Modi Mago, who hails from Kirinyaga County, has been working in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a driver for the past 10 years. During this period, he maintained regular communication with his family in Kenya until August 2025, when communication with him abruptly ceased. Upon making inquiries through his friends in Saudi Arabia, the family was informed that Mr. Mago had allegedly been arrested alongside other individuals on suspicion of being in possession of illegal drugs. It is reported that one of the suspects, who was arrested alongside him, was arraigned in court, charged, and subsequently sentenced. Alarmingly, Mr. Mago, who pleaded not guilty to the charges, remained in detention with no information provided to his family regarding the status of the case. The prolonged detention of Mr. Mago has caused immense distress to his family and raised concerns regarding the welfare and protection of Kenyan citizens working abroad. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1, the circumstances surrounding the arrest and continued detention of Mr. Charles Modi Mago in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the measures being taken by the government to establish the status of his case and ensure that he is accorded due process of law. Number two, assistance extended by the government to Mr. Mago to ensure due process is accorded, and lastly, the long-term measure being taken to safeguard the welfare and the rights of Kenyan citizens working in the foreign countries. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chair, Defense and Foreign. Any member? Wangari, you're a member?
Yes, I'm a member,
2
Mr.
weeks.
Speaker. 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Titus Lote. Titus Lote, member for Kacheliba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to request for a statement regarding delay in promotion of teachers in Kacheliba constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 44, 2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding delay promotion of teachers in Kacheliba constituency. Honorable Speaker, in 2017, the Teacher Service Commission adopted the Career Progression Guidelines to provide for a structured framework for the promotion of teachers based on standardization criteria, including academic qualifications, experience, appraisal, and availability of vacancies. The guidelines were intended to streamline promotion and ensure fairness, transparency, and consistency in career growth within the teacher service. However, teachers in Kacheliba constituency have raised serious concerns regarding promotion stagnation, with many principal, head teachers, and their deputies having served in acting capacities for more than 6 years without substantive appointment. Further, these teachers have been reportedly not been remunerated through any acting allowance. This situation has resulted in diminished morale, frustrations, and undermine the objective of career progression guidelines. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Education on the following. Number one, a report on the number of teachers promoted in Kacheliba constituency since 2017, including principals, head teachers, and deputy head teachers, and the reason for the delay in promotion of eligible teachers for over 6 years. Number two, a report on the implementation of the status of career progression guidelines, particularly on the promotion of teachers serving in acting capacity for prolonged period in Kacheliba constituency. And finally, the measures that the Teacher Service Commission has put in place to remedy career stagnation among teachers, including remuneration of acting allowance and strategies to enhance motivation of teachers. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Education. Any member from that committee? Or when you tell them 2 weeks? Ahmed Maalim, member for Banisa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to request for a statement regarding the road infrastructure in Banisa constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the deteriorating state of road infrastructure in Banisa constituency. Honorable Speaker, road infrastructure within Banisa constituency is in dilapidated condition, which has occasioned loss of life, high transport costs due to wear and tear of vehicles, and destruction of property arising from frequent accidents. The roads are characterized by inadequate drainage system and structurally compromised formations, rendering them hazardous, particularly during periods of heavy rainfall. Honorable Speaker, for instance, on the 24th of March, an area resident, Mr. Edin Hassan Amina, lost his life after his vehicle was swept away by flash flood along the Banisa Moyale Road. This incident underscores the persistent neglect of critical road infrastructure in the area. Honorable Speaker, having only recently emerged from the prolonged drought, residents are now grappling with the adverse effect of torrential rains, which have been exacerbated by inadequacy of the existing infrastructure. It is noteworthy that Banisa constituency has lacked direct parliamentary representation for a considerable period, resulting in sustained failure to address essential infrastructure projects and the deterioration of the already deplorable road infrastructure. This situation calls for urgent attention to restore the road to better condition. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, the measures being taken by the government to rehabilitate and upgrade the road infrastructure in Banisa constituency, and the immediate steps being taken to ensure accessibility of essential service within the area during the rainy season, and the expected timeline of completion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
When can you bring a response? 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Owen Bayer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this moment and this time to, one, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for condoling with me, calling me on the phone when I lost my mother, and also coming over to mourn and attend the funeral and bury my mother. I also want to take this opportunity to thank every member, including my leader here, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, for taking time actually to come during the funeral. But more important, I want to thank every member that prayed for us, that condoled with us, that made available financial support and moral support during that difficult time for my family. Honorable Speaker, I want to end there and say thank you, thank you, thank you very much, everyone. Asante sana, Speaker.
Yes, Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for indulging me. Mr. Speaker, on 1st of April, I requested a statement on the floor to the Committee on Internal Security on the death of baby Faiz Leslie Faraji, who died last month in Gilgil Hills Academy. Mr. Speaker, you directed that that statement be brought last week. It is now another week, and we still haven't heard from the committee. And this matter, Mr. Speaker, is a matter of national concern. I would like that we hear from the committee on how far this statement has gone and when we should expect it on the floor.
Tongoyo, are you ready?
Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, we are not.
When can you?
We have been in constant talk, even including with a member, and I've just called the person from the OP, and they had written actually a statement that it is underway. I will ask you, Speaker, maybe give us to Thursday. Hopefully, we'll be able to.
Thursday afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. Next order. Yes, Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you'll recall that some time back, I did rise on a point of order in regard to the deductions on carer monies, the 22% and the 10%, where a total of 13 million had been deducted from every constituency. And you had guided that a response was to be brought within a week or so. Honorable Speaker.
Who was to bring that response? Was it majority leader or chair?
Majority leader.
It was majority leader?
Yeah.
Majority leader, do you have a response on that?
Yes, Honorable Speaker. I was hoping Honorable GK would be here because...
Who?
Honorable GK, the chair of the Transport Committee.
He's shaking hands with Murugara.
He's very busy with Honorable Murugara and the Honorable Member for Buri. The CS wrote to me and indicated that it's a matter that he had already interacted with the committee on. Yes. And probably we could give the Honorable GK an opportunity. I'm certain he did not hear what the issue was about. It's about RMLF. the reduction of 13 million shillings, because I am aware the CS was to interact with the committee on that matter and to give a detailed response to that issue. And he had written to me indicating
GK,
that he was engaging with the committee.
Can you bring a comprehensive response to that tomorrow afternoon?
Fortunately, Honorable Speaker, I do know how to multitask, so I heard you, Honorable Ishungwa, well and clear. So, Honorable Speaker, we will avail a good response in the course of the week by Thursday. So Thursday afternoon, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is either Thursday? Yes. Next order. Yes, Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we were seeking your indulgence with Honorable Martin, if we could just talk a little about or eulogize the father of Honorable Dr. Nyikal, who passed on 2 days ago.
Martin Owino had seen me about it, but throughout the proceedings, he has showed no indication of wanting to say anything about it.
Mr. Speaker, it's just that Honorable Martin Owino is the elder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he's not been overtaken sometimes by the enemy, the devil, like me. I'm also the wife of an elder, but once in a while the devil steals me and I say my strange things. Him is more humble than me. So I'm actually tearing him. But we just wanted to say a little on...
Go ahead.
Yes, maybe if, with your kind permission, Martin, if you can start, then I follow.
Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the time I rise to inform the House that we have lost the father of our brother, Dr. Nyikal, Wambura Nyikal. Mzee Eliud Nyikal Okaka passed on last Saturday when we had just gone to see him. After a few hours, he passed on. Mr. Speaker, life and legacy of Mzee Eliud Nyikal is laced with integrity, with values, discipline, and hard work. Mzee Eliud walked the chapter 6 even before we had the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, that is evidence in his son, who is a fellow alumni of Onjiko, like me, we call it the Onjiko. Others also have BB here. But Dr. Nyikal is a renowned pediatrician. He's a career civil servant. Dr. Nyikal has been in this House, this is his third term, and is the current chair of the Health Committee. The burial of Mzee Eliud will take place in Seme on May 2nd. And Honorable Speaker, I want also to announce the members that the family has asked me to represent them, especially on behalf of the Parliament, in your responses, your interest, your logistics, which we have also discussed with the Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of myself, the people of Ndewa, I want to offer heartfelt condolences to the family. He's not only a father of my friend, but he's also a relative when we connect with Ndewa. We gave him a lady. And all these years, we have never pressed any return button. He took care of her very well, and the lady is still living. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to urge the entire comrade in this House to pray for the family of Dr. Nyikal. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Millie?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity too on my behalf and on behalf of the people of Suba North to bring my condolences to the family of Nyikal on the loss of their father. Mr. Speaker, it was only about, I think sometimes last week when I was talking to Dr. Nyikal about the father, and when he told me that the father was alive, I was saying, you know, you're really blessed to have a father Some of us lost our fathers when we were young, but Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter how old, a father or a parent is usually very special in a person's life. We thank God for the many years that he gave Dr. Nyikal, and also for the children that he's been able to raise. And I want to agree that Dr. Nyikal is a person of integrity and serves this house with diligence. And even as he mourns his father, we wish to stand with him and say may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me join colleagues in really saying Paul to our colleague, Dr. Nyikal, for the loss of his father. Honorable Speaker, I really don't know Mr. Nyikal, but I've interacted with the son since 2013 when we joined this house. And there is this common saying, Mr. Speaker, that a tree will always give good fruits. And if you see good fruits from a tree, you know the tree is good, Honorable Speaker. So I'm imagining that Mzee must have also been a very good Mzee. And when we talk about integrity, Honorable Speaker, I can really confirm that Dr. Nyikal falls into that class of people who believe in high integrity. And it's a big loss to the family, big loss to the people of that constituency where Dr. Nyikal comes. So on my own behalf of my family, and on behalf of the good people of Kitui Central, I want to send my deepest condolences to the family and wish my friend Dr. Nyikal all the best as we prepare to send his father to give him a befitting send-off. May the soul of Mzee rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Patrick.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker Eliza, the Vice Chairman of the Health Committee. My chairman is Dr. Nyikal. Theology is his father. I've had the advantage of working with Dr. Nyikal from last parliament to this parliament. I've had the opportunity of interacting with the old man, the father, and I can tell you, Dr. Nyikal is one man, even at his old age, who loved his father dearly. Dr. Nyikal has been there for his father almost every day. I've seen the struggle, I've seen the pain in him. Anytime he talked about the pain the father was going through, I talked to him the day the father passed on, and I've never heard a man his age so heartbroken again. So, Mr. Speaker, I just stand to apologize the old man and congratulate him for lacing up quite a great man in this country. Dr. Nyikal is quite a great man in this country. Working under him as his vice chairman, I can attest to the fact that Dr. Nyikal is a great man. And we say a fruit does not fall far from the tree. So we are brief. The things we see in Dr. Nyikal were put in him by the father who brought him up. We had the whole house. We support Dr. Nyikal. He is a ranking member in this parliament. He's someone who has served this house so diligently. So let's support him. We have a group here contributing. Let's support him to give his father a decent send-off. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We send our collective condolences to Dr. Nyikal. I'm told the burial is on 2nd, so we'll play our part. Next order.
Order number 8, the Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2026, second reading. Mover to reply.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me first to thank in a very special way the Committee for Trade and the Honorable Shinali and the Vice Chair Marianne and all the other 13 members of that committee for the immense work that they put in consideration of this bill. Two, allow me to thank all the members, because when we began debate on this bill last week, not a single member opposed this bill. And even those who had certain reservations expressed their reservations without opposing the bill, and therefore is a bill that had support across the board. And many of our members appreciate the need to amend the Special Economic Zones Act to be able to bring into the fold of the CESA Act the midstream and upstream oil production industry. Honorable Speaker, because there are also members from Turkana County who contributed to this bill, in support, just to buttress the point that was said by many people that indeed part of the hurdles that have bedeviled this industry of oil production in this country will be cured by the provisions that are here in this bill. And I know there are certain concerns on other sectors, some which I can see the committee did consider for those who bother to go through the report. And when we get to the Committee of the Whole House, we'll be relooking into some of the issues that members raised that could, in a big way, improve the workability of this particular piece of legislation. I thank all members, Honorable Speaker, and I pray that when we go to the Committee of the Whole, those who had proposed amendments can start working on them so that we may be able to consider them together in a committee. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to reply.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, which is the Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 8 of 2026, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Special Economic Zones Act and for connected purposes.
Next.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024.
Members, I wish to guide you at orders number 9 and 10. I've looked at the committee reports. At order number 9, the committee appears to agree with all the amendments from the Senate. At order number 10, the committee appears to reject each and every amendment from the Senate. At order number 11, the same two orders are going to Committee of the Whole House. So I would advise, unless there's somebody with a pressing issue on the two orders, we have a mover, a seconder, question put. Second at 10, mover, seconder, question put. Then if you have any issues, deal with them at the committee stage. At order number 10, if you vote in the negative, then there will be no committee to go through. We'll straight away commit the bill to mediation, in which case I'll wait for your majority leadership in consultation with the minority to propose names to the mediation committee, which will forward to the other house, and they'll also nominate a similar number, and they can deal with the matter in mediation. So we'll proceed that way. Clerk, call out order number 9.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024 be now considered. Honorable Speaker, as you have ably guided, members will see on page 578, I believe, 578 of the order paper today, there are quite a number of amendments, all which the committee, the CII committee agrees with, that were passed in the Senate, and the committee has since considered them and agreed with all those amendments. Therefore, I just beg to move and urge the House to support the committee's recommendation in their report that we do agree with the amendments in the Senate, so for us to be able to go to the Committee of the Whole on that particular bill. I beg to move and request the chair of the CII committee, the Honorable KJ, member for Dagoretti, to second.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and I thank you, Honorable Leader of Majority, and that's the situation as is, that our committee did consider the amendments that were brought by Senate. And Honorable Speaker, this is the reason why the bills that have matters to do with counties are taken to the Senate, because the proposals that came from Senate that had to do with this bill all have to do with devolved functions. And when our committee had a look at the recommendations that were coming out of Senate, we were in agreement with all the amendments that we are making as concerns counties, Honorable Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, I stand to second. I thank you.
Thank you. Members on their feet, take your seats. Professor. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 9, that the Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024 be now considered. Put the question. I now put the question, honorable members, at order number 9, which is that the Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024 be now considered. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 10, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7, be now considered. Honorable Speaker, again, as you indicated in your brief to the House, this Cooperatives Bill amendments, the committee is recommending to agree with about 40-something amendments done in the Senate and rejecting over 100 amendments. And therefore, the logical thing to do, Honorable Speaker, is to reject this so that we may go into mediation and be able to agree with the other House on many of the amendments that the committee has disagreed with, the over 100 amendments. It's only fair that we give the committee an opportunity to be able to interact with the other committee in the other House and agree. Therefore, beg to move, and I want to request the Honorable Shinali, the chair of the committee that considered these amendments, to second.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, my Majority Leader. Speaker, as you have directed, and Majority Leader has alluded to it, the committee sat and went through clause by clause, Honorable Speaker, considering the constitutionality of the bills and what adds content to the bill, Honorable Speaker. Those ones which you could agree with, we agreed, and the rest, Honorable Speaker, some were creating offices on the county level, reflecting what is on the national level, Honorable Speaker, that would really cause confusion in the implementation of the bill. Honorable Speaker, I second.
Order those on their feet, take your seats. KJ, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now propose the question at order number 10, which is that the Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024 be now considered. I put the question. I now put the question, honorable members, at order number 10, which is that the Senate amendments to the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024 be now considered. As members of that opinion say aye. As members of the contrary opinion say nay. The nays have it. Next order.
Order number 11, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable members, at the Committee of the Whole, you'll now only consider the Technopolis Bill. Will you now be upstanding?
Honorable members, this is the Committee of the Whole House for the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024.
Senate amendment to clause 7.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendment to clause 7 be now approved. Any comments? May I put the question? Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendment to clause 7 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to clause 8.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendment to clause 8 be now approved. Yes, Honorable Member for Dagoretti.
Madam Speaker, I propose that we pass this clause as is appearing on the order paper. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. I now put the question that the Senate amendment to clause 8 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to clause 13.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendment to clause 13 be now approved. May I put the, okay, yes, Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, our committee did agree with this amendment by Senate so that the transfers the power of appointing the CEO from Cabinet Secretary on board recommendation and to go directly to the board with the requirement that the process must be competitive, Madam Speaker, and that this amendment seeks to mitigate any arbitrary appointments by a CS. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that Senate Amendment Clause number 13 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate Amendment to Clause 16.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate Amendment to Clause 16 be now approved. Yes, Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, we do agree with Senate that it would be very important to impose a new statutory requirement for the Cabinet Secretary to be able to consult with the affected persons before establishing a technopolis. And these affected persons include the counties where these technopolises shall be going to, so that we have community consultation, so that we are able to analyze the impact. So we agree with this amendment, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendment to Clause 16 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to Clause 17.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendment to Clause 17 be now approved. Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, we would like to pass this as is appearing on the order paper.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendment to Clause 17 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to Clause 30.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendment to Clause 30 be now approved. Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, our committee did agree with this amendment because it introduces a timeline that will now require the authority to notify the applicants when such a decision is made regarding licenses, so that they have an avenue for arbitration if there is need for such, and there will be need to provide very specific timelines so that you're not kept waiting after a denial of a certificate for a time that is not stipulated. This is in order, Madam Speaker, so that it complies with the constitutional provisions on the fair administrative actions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I now put the question that the Senate amendment to Clause 30 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to clause 31.
Honorable members, I propose the question that Senate amendment to clause 31 be now approved. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendment to clause 31 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Senate amendment to clause 32.
Honorable members, I propose the question that Senate amendment to clause 32 be now approved. Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, I do see members have the green paper, and the import of this amendment is to introduce a new subclause number 5, which shall be requiring the authority to give reasons for the rejection of an application, and so that an application for renewal. There is also a new subclause 6, which will allow a licensee to submit new application for renewal after initial rejection. Madam Speaker, this is only fair. This is just providing justice, Madam Speaker, and this is in order so that we may be able to comply with the constitutional provisions, again, of fair administrative justice. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendment to clause 32 be now approved. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. That brings us to the end of the Committee of the Whole House. Mover.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also...
Honorable KJ Chairperson, just proceed as indicated.
Yes. Honorable Chairperson, I do beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendment to the Technopolis Bill, which is our National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, and their approval thereof without amendment.
Thank you. Honorable members, I will now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendments to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, and their approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable members, Madam Speaker,
Honorable Chairperson. Proceed, Honorable Chairperson, to report to the House.
I get it, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Senate amendment to the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, and approved the same without amendment.
Thank you. Mover.
Madam Speaker, I do wish to thank the very honorable members for taking time.
Stick to first as indicated. I beg to move to the House.
Honorable Speaker.
You want to move agreement to the to the report, yes.
I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, and I would also request the Honorable County MP for Kirinyaga to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I move. Thank you.
I beg to second.
I beg to second. Thank
you. Honorable members, I propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Yes, is there someone who wants to say something? As long as they don't move. Okay, may I put the question? Okay. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, motion. Consideration of the consolidated fund services under the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-2026.
Chairperson, Public Debt and Prioritization. Honorable Mulu, who is? Honorable Makali Mulu. Honorable Muriambo, sorry. I thought it was Honorable Makali. Okay.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of the consolidated fund services under the supplementary estimate for financial year 2025-2026 laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 7th April 2026. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the members of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee for their diligence and commitment in considering the consolidated fund service expenditures and preparing this report for the consideration by the House. Honorable Speaker, consolidated fund services or CFS expenditure comprises of statutory expenditures charged directly on the consolidated fund as provided for under the Constitution and various acts of Parliament. This includes public debt service, pension payments, salaries, and allowances for holders of constitutional and independent of the fastest growing components of the government expenditures. Estimates, the key components are projected as follows. 1, public debt service will rise from 1.9 trillion in the approved budget to Kenya shillings 2.34 trillion. Pension expenditure will remain at Kenya shillings 234.9 billion. Salaries, allowances, and related expenditures will increase by 431.34 million from Kenya shillings 4.67 billion to Kenya shillings 5.09 billion. Honorable Speaker, at this juncture, I would like to provide a minor clarification that sub-paragraph Roman 1 under paragraph 6 should read Kenya shillings 2.3 trillion as opposed to Kenya shillings 1.9 trillion. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered these supplementary estimates at an important stage in Kenya's fiscal management and reform journey. The proposed adjustment highlighted the continued significance of statutory expenditures, particularly public debt services. Within the national budget framework, they also underscore the importance of sustaining reform efforts aimed at preserving fiscal stability while ensuring that the government retains the capacity to finance essential public service and development priorities. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted the increase in consolidated fund services expenditures largely driven by public debt service obligation. The projections show that debt service continues to account for the largest share of the statutory expenditure, with direct implications for the physical space available to support other national priorities. The committee, therefore, sees this as a timely opportunity to deepen ongoing efforts to improve debt planning, expenditure prioritization, and the overall management of the budget framework. Honorable Speaker, the committee further observed that the supplementary estimates reflect a wider physical deficit and a corresponding increase in the public debt stock. In the committee's view, this reinforces the importance of stronger physical discipline, improved debt planning, and closer alignment between borrowing decisions, debt operations, and the medium-term physical framework. While liability management operations remain an important instrument in easing immediate financial pressures, their effectiveness would be enhanced by a clear, transparent, and forward-looking policy framework that supports both short-term physical management and long-term debt sustainability. Honorable Speaker, the committee also noted a number of areas where continued reform would yield important gains, including the adequacy of budget provision for debt service, transparency in debt operations, the management of off-budget and off-balance sheet commitments, and the timeliness of pension disbursement. These are important aspects of public finance management and provide a useful basis for strengthening reporting, improving predictability in physical planning, and enhancing parliamentary oversight over obligations charged to the consolidated fund. Honorable Speaker, in undertaking this review, the committee benefited from submissions by the National Treasury, the Central Bank of Kenya, and the Office of Controller of Budget. The committee appreciates the cooperation extended by these institutions and acknowledges the value of information and clarifications they provided. The committee also recognizes the support of the Office of the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Office of the Clerk of National Assembly in enabling it to discharge its mandate effectively. Honorable Speaker, this report contains findings and recommendations intended to strengthen debt oversight, improve transparency and accountability in public borrowing, enhance management of consolidated fund services, and safeguard physical space for priority government programs. Honorable Speaker, the committee therefore recommends that the National Treasury and Economic Planning, 1, to expedite the development of the liability management policy and ensure that all liability management operations are undertaken in a manner that supports the physical consolidation plan. Expand physical space, support sectors that are critical for economic growth, contribute to a reduction in public debt service obligation over time, and adopt a more diversified financial mix that includes semi-concessional and concessional options alongside commercial borrowing. 2, enhance transparency and accountability by ensuring that all public debt, particularly domestic debt, is onboarded onto the Commonwealth Meridian Public Debt Management System within 60 days of the adoption of this report. 3, strengthen the acquisition, application, and oversight of domestic borrowing through the development of joint reporting standards in collaboration with the Controller of Budget and the Central Bank of Kenya for tracking and utilization of domestic debt. 4, enhance accountability and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of borrowed funds by issuing guidelines and directives within 20 days of the adoption of this report to all ministries, departments, and agencies, requiring them to prepare annual reports on the efficiency of loan utilization within 30 days after the close of each financial year, and thereafter submit the reports to the National Assembly for scrutiny. And 5, improve the timely disbursement of pension benefits to retired civil servants by clearing pension arrears older than 3 months within 1 month of the adoption of this report, ensuring that future pension benefits are disbursed within 3 months of becoming due, and developing a national government pension policy statement to guide pension disbursement, reporting, stakeholder consultation to be submitted to National Assembly within 60 days. Honorable Speaker, this recommendation arises from the committee's finding that domestic debt service has become the largest component of public debt service expenditure, thereby necessitating stronger oversight over this category of debt. They also arise from the need to improve the efficiency of debt utilization and to address delays in pension disbursement, notwithstanding the central role of pensions as a key social protection mechanism for retired public officers. Honorable Speaker, the committee remains confident that with sustained commitment to reform, adherence to fiscal responsibility principles set out in the Constitution, and strengthened public finance management, these expenditures can be managed more sustainably in a manner that presents physical space for other critical development expenditure. With those remarks, therefore, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request Honorable Mokami to second.
Honorable Mokami, member for Nyeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion for adoption of the report of the Public Debt Privatization Committee on the consideration of the consolidated FAT services under supplementary estimates number 1 for 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, at the outset, I commend the chairperson and the members of the committee for the thorough review undertaken on this important matter. The report speaks to issues that are central and fiscal sustainability, prudent debt management, and the efficient use of public resources. Honorable Speaker, the committee's review shows that consolidated FAT services remain in a major component of the government expenditure. Under the supplementary estimate, CFS, expenditure has increased from 2.14 trillion Kenya shillings in the approved budget of Kenya shillings 2.58 trillion. This increase confirms the growing weight of statutory obligations within the budget and the importance of continued reforms in debt management, cash planning, and expenditure prioritization. Honorable Speaker, the most significant component of this expenditure remains public debt service, which now accounts for 91% of total CFS expenditure. This clearly demonstrates the extent to which debt obligation continue to shape the fiscal space available for other public programs. The issue before the House, therefore, is not merely one expenditure adjustment, but also one of ensuring that the budget framework remains sustainable and responsive to the national priorities. Honorable Speaker, the committee also noted that supplementary estimates reflect a wider fiscal deficit, an increased reliance on domestic borrowing. This points to the need for continued improvement in fiscal discipline, stronger forecasting, better debt planning, and closer alignment between borrowing decisions and the medium-term fiscal framework. It is also encouraging that the report does not only identify the pressure emerging in the fiscal framework, but also proposes the constructive measures to support reform. Honorable Speaker, I particularly support the committee recommendation aimed at strengthening the policy framework for liability management operations, enhancing transparency in debt reporting, improving the tracking and efficiency of borrowed funds, and ensuring more timely pension disbursement to retired public officers. These are practical recommendations that will strengthen accountability while also supporting better outcomes in public finance management. Honorable Speaker, this report is therefore important because it supports a more transparent, disciplined, and sustainable approach to the management of statutory expenditures charged to consolidated fund. It also reinforces the oversight role of this House in ensuring that public borrowing and debt services obligations are managed in a manner that protects the broader public interest. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the House adopts the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of the consolidated fund services under the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 7th April 2026. Members who want to contribute, please press the intervention button. Honorable Makale Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by appreciating the work of my former committee, where I used to be the vice chair, Honorable Speaker, and say that I've listened to the recommendations of the committee, and these recommendations are very good, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, I think really, as a House, we need to be more serious the way we treat issues of public debt, Honorable Speaker. This is a report where the House is being called to pass a resolution, Honorable Speaker. But even as we are addressing this matter, we have already passed a supplementary budget. So you ask yourself, Honorable Speaker, what value will this report be adding to our supplementary budget? Honorable Speaker, I want just to remind the House what we did last week, but one. We passed a budget deficit of 6.4% after looking at the proposed expenditures. The reason why we have public debt is because we are spending more than we are collecting. If you look at the Appropriations Act, Honorable Speaker, a total increase in terms of expenditure was about 364 billion. Increase in terms of revenue was about 29 billion. So that difference, Honorable Speaker, means we're actually borrowing almost about 330 billion. And that's why the reason why the deficit was going up. And for me, if we had done this report before the passing of the Appropriation Act, Honorable Speaker, maybe now the recommendation we are hearing from this committee would have made a lot of sense. So one of the things I'll be appealing, Honorable Speaker, to this House is to ensure that this report is always debated before we finalize budget-making process, because it informs the process. In that case, then we'll be able to control and check, do a bit of checks and balances, and see what can we do to reduce this deficit. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, is the issue the committee is recommending, that we need to have proper planning, proper budgeting, and more so, very good way of managing our public debt. But Honorable Speaker, you realize if you go to the answer of this House, Honorable Speaker, many times we have actually given this recommendation. And I always ask myself, at what point do we implement these recommendations? Because it's like we just write them for the sake of writing them, and we don't follow up on the recommendations. I still want to insist, Honorable Speaker, our Committee on Implementation needs to do much more than they are doing, Honorable Speaker, because some of these keep on recurring, because our committee will give these proposals, but then follow-up becomes an issue. And I think the majority side should be able to help us, through the majority leader, on these issues, Honorable Speaker. Because just as the committee has put very right, Honorable Speaker, our total debt repayment has moved from about 1.9 trillion, that is principal plus interest, to about 2.4 trillion. If you look at the money we are collecting, Honorable Speaker, it's about 2.8 trillion. It means we have just about 400 billion to do the rest of what we expect to do as a country. So we have left our development budget purely to external financing. Where is the challenge? The challenge is now what the committee is proposing. They are saying most of our debt is shifting from external borrowing to domestic borrowing. And this is a matter which has been picked by the controller of budget. It's a matter which has been picked by Auditor General, that this matter, unless we address it, colleagues, is going to be a serious, serious matter. So we need really to sit down as a House and say, how do we get a good balance, a good mix, so that we have the domestic and external balancing well? My last point, Honorable Speaker, the issue of pensions. I really can't understand why somebody should serve Kenyans up to the age of 60, and once you're out of office, Honorable Speaker, you take a whole year or 2 years before you get your pension. Most of the people we represent in this House are dying because of lack of not getting their money in good time. They have no regular salary, they should be now relying on the pension, and they're not getting their salary. I think this issue of 3 months pension to be paid, Honorable Speaker, is an issue we should take a matter of urgency in this House and implement it.
Otherwise, we will be giving pension to people who have never worked for the government. The Wazes will have died, and then the children start fighting for their pension, and you don't know what will happen. With that, with those recommendations, Honorable Speaker, I really want to urge this House to take this matter.
Let me allow Honorable Makali to finish.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. So I was just saying, Honorable Speaker, this matter of pension, really, colleagues, because we represent people, is a matter we really need to get into details and find out why can't Treasury pay salaries in 3 months after I retire? Because I remember by the time I'm retiring, people go for terminal leave. That time the documentation should be done by the department, so that by the time I exit from the office, Honorable Speaker, my papers are with the pensions department. And if you look at the figures, they're increasing from 4 billion to something. So the money is already budgeted for. This is a matter we must take very seriously. Now that I have an additional minute, Honorable Speaker, allow me to go back to the issue of domestic borrowing from external borrowing. Honorable Speaker, the control budget has picked a very interesting issue, where we are saying, out of the total interest we are paying this country for public debt, about 70% of that money goes for domestic borrowing. 30% goes for external, basically because external borrowing is cheaper and is long-term. Domestic borrowing is expensive, short-term. That's why you see we have to borrow every year to repay the loans, which it's a rollover. And by doing that, Honorable Speaker, we make debt management very complicated. So it's a matter we must discuss, take this information very seriously, Honorable Speaker, and help this committee, because they are doing a very good job. But I think we are not really giving them the necessary support in terms of the timing of their reports. The report should come before we conclude their budgets. With those my remarks, Honorable Speaker, I submit and I support the report. Thank you.
To the Honorable Member for Kisumu East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I note the report, and I think the committee has done well. The recommendations, of course, are ones that we need to look into. The Public Debt Office, Madam Speaker, in the last 3 terms of my 4 terms, it was never there. There was never really a public debt office within the system. If you went to Treasury on the 3rd floor or the 2nd floor, in the middle of somewhere, there was a public debt office. That public debt office never had any strength, never had any way and autonomy, and was being used. If there was an economist who wasn't liked in Treasury, he was pushed down to the public debt office. But now, as Parliament is looking at these things issue, we have now a committee on public debt. The main problem of the public debt is that the public, like in the United Kingdom, the public debt office is the one that goes and secures loans. It finds the best combination of loans, and it goes out. Not our ministers, not our treasury, not anybody else. Every year, the head of treasury in the UK gives the authority to the public debt office to have an autonomy. Here we have not yet reached there. But in Parliament, we have now a committee on public debt. Madam Speaker, we have been fighting with this issue of public debt, external debt, and domestic debt. Domestic debt, as my colleague has told us, is short-term and more expensive. 70% is the domestic debt. When you have domestic debt, the banks don't need to lend out to anybody. They lend out to the government, and they get very high interest rates. At one time, Madam Speaker, it went up to 75% at the time of Anglo-leasing and Goldenberg. So what is happening is all the liquid money that should be used to generate wealth within the country is taken over by the government. The businesses cannot access loans from the bank because the bank themselves are lending to the government. I think this is where we were looking at it in the last term, and we had an agreement that no more than 50% of the debt should be public debt. And also we agreed that we would be able to sort of look at the public and private domestic debt and the external debt and be able to layer it to see what is the weighted average cost of the loan that the government was taking on private debt and on public domestic debt versus the external debt. And the external debt, which is more, the interest is lower, but the exchange fluctuations sometimes are higher. However, we had spoken about this, and I urged the committee to now start putting certain criteria and limitations as to how much domestic debt we can take and how much external debt. The domestic debt that we take is we are cutting our nose to spite our face. Madam, you want a loan, you want to do something in your farm, or you want to do something in industry, you can't do it because the government has taken all the money. And the banks are enjoying this very much. I was a banker. It was much easier for the bank to lend to a government at 15% than to lend on hire purchase or financing, asset financing. So I really do feel that it is something that we need to work on, and I ask the committee to please come up with some sort of standards and regulations that can be shared with the Treasury. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Butula, Honourable Joseph Oyula.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this opportunity to also contribute to this debt issue. Madam Speaker, I support the adoption of this report, as I find it has brought out a lot of areas that the government needs to look into. Madam Speaker, domestic debt is the major cause of a huge budget. We are budgeting heavily on debt because of persistent borrowing domestically. And this is also denying the public from borrowing, as most of the cash is transferred to the government through short-term borrowing and 90 days borrowing and 108 days borrowing. Madam Speaker, the government needs to implement credible fiscal consolidation, strategy with a clear roadmap to reduce persistent fiscal deficits. This continued borrowing is increasing the deficit, and this must be looked into very critically. The government, Madam Speaker, must enhance domestic revenue. There is a lot of revenue in this country, but where the revenue is going, nobody knows. That revenue should come to the exchequer so that the government reduces borrowing domestically. Domestic borrowing is very dangerous to our economy. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we also need to look at the recurrent expenditure, which must be reduced, and the frequent increase during supplementary budget be avoided. Because as we increase the recurrent expenditure during the supplementary or the annual budget, we are automatically increasing domestic borrowing. In fact, we should go for more external borrowing than going into domestic borrowing. Domestic borrowing is very dangerous for our economy. Madam Speaker, government should lengthen maturity profile and reduce refinancing risk. The domestic borrowing we should now consider removing from the 90 days, because frequent borrowing after every 3 months is creating all these huge domestic interest. Because as we continue borrowing, nobody knows where that borrowed money is going. You cannot direct or pinpoint where the money borrowed domestically is going to finance. Unlike the external borrowing, which you may borrow for a specific project, but domestically, we are just using that money for recurrent expenditure, which should be avoided very much, Madam Speaker. GOK needs to further focus on restructuring the entire debt portfolio. The entire debt portfolio needs to be restructured and ensure that we do not allow expenditure to increase during this period. Madam Speaker, this borrowing internally or domestically is going to cause a lot of problems. And I support the report because the committee has come up clearly to show what the government needs to do for the short term. With those few remarks, I support the report.
The Honorable Patrick Twiga, member for Chuka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine will be very brief. From the onset, Madam Speaker, I wish to state that I support the report and recommend the committee, because most of the times we list problems and we pinpoint problems, but we don't suggest solutions. And this is a committee that is pinpointing problems and giving out possible solutions to the problem. From the onset, Madam Speaker, I was talking to a fellow member when we were seated here today, and we were talking about compensation for human wildlife conflict. And I was telling my friend, I think we are a house that at times speaks to the gallery, which is not good, because this house members, we say today we don't want borrowing. Tomorrow we list petitions here, I want my rent, my questions, I want my rent. So it's a balance we need to strike and fund what we can afford. We need to have a national conversation and say this is what we can afford. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I think this committee needs to be well facilitated to go out and enlighten Kenyans, because if you go out and discuss borrowing, I want to give an example. If the president goes out today and the Kenyans here, he got a loan from IMF or World Bank, that the term is borrowing. And politicians will hype it all over that the country has borrowed. But if we borrow internally, it's silent. Nobody realizes the government is borrowing. So at times, political pressure might force you to borrow internally, not to be accused of borrowing externally because of political pressure. Because if you borrow outside, the pressure is too much. So Kenyans need to understand that borrowing externally is more stable and is more reliable than borrowing internally, because the government is taking all the money. Banks are just keeping quiet, waiting for the best borrower, which is government. Because would you give your money to individuals or government? You would prefer to give your money to government. So, Madam Speaker, I think it's something that this committee needs to be empowered to explain to people that when the government borrows externally, they are safer than when we borrow internally. When we borrow internally, we are taking over all the money that should be taken over by investors internally in the country. Secondly, Madam Speaker, and the very broad issue is the issue of pensions. We say a country that does not take care of its older generation, it's a country that is seeking a curse. If members were to bring petitions here on people who have not received their pension, I'm sure this house will not deal with anything else apart from dread pensions. So these are matters that need to be looked at, because most of the pensions that we end up paying, we don't pay to the people who worked. We pay to their siblings after they have died in Nairobi, in the streets, trying to follow up their pensions. So, Madam Speaker, I think this is a matter that this committee needs to take very seriously. Like one member said, I don't see, pension is money that is deducted from it's contributory. It's money you have contributed throughout your career. How does it take a whole year, 2 years, for someone to follow their pension to be paid? So, Madam Speaker,
because we need to respect the own generation and remembering that we will also retire one day and require our pensions, it's very important that people be paid their pension timely, and 3 months is quite a reasonable period to process pension payment. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the report.
The Honorable Member for Funyula, Professor Undo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues in supporting the report by the Consolidated Fund Committee, the Committee on Public Debt and Privatization on Consolidated Fund Services under the Supplementary Estimate for the financial year 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, I want to reiterate what I said when we were debating the main supplementary. The supplementary budget in the context of Kenya is a sign of poor management. It's a sign of poor planning and exposes the way we handle our things in such a casual manner and in some kind of an urgency that is not necessary. Honorable Speaker, Consolidated Fund Services basically pays statutory, constitutional office holders, pensions, and of course, external debt, public debt. Honorable Speaker, let me start with the one that's the most depressing, the issue of payment of pensions to retirees. Honorable Speaker, the government knows when somebody is going to retire, and it knows much, much, much earlier. And all the time, the employee and the employer's component is deducted and indicated on the pay slip. Honorable Speaker, it's extremely unfair, it's unjustifiable, it's unjust for a retiree to spend almost 1 year, over 1 year, before they get they start receiving their pension. Many times when you engage the pension office, the standard reference, the standard answer is that there is this inadequate budget allocation for the same. Then that again gets back to us here, and I want to concur with my colleague there. This House, the National Assembly, is the owner of the purse. National Assembly is the one that appropriates. National Assembly is the one that passes the budget. This brings to question, does the National Assembly collectively, I included, understand they have got the final say? Or the National Assembly has abdicated and surrendered their mandate to other organs of the government or other state offices to an extent that they are unable to prioritize and know what to be paid first and what to be paid next or last. Honorable Speaker, we always get into trouble because we want to spend more than we can generate. We want to spend more than we can actually generate. And we want to do everything at a go because many times we are politicians. You go wherever you go, you are asked, we want this, we want this, we want this, we want this. And we want that as of now, not another day. Honorable Speaker, that means that every single time when we do the budget, we will always have a budget deficit. What are we left with? We are left with to borrow. Honorable Speaker, it is time we need to have that conversation and prioritize what we can do, what we can't afford, let's leave them out. Sometimes I wonder, the President of the Republic of Kenya goes all over making promises, which obviously they somehow they must find their way in the budget, and that keeps on ballooning the budget deficit, and we end up borrowing. Many of those promises are not an emergency. Many of those promises probably are not even a priority. Honorable Speaker, as a country, as leadership, we want to call upon everybody to know what is possible and what is not possible. Honorable Speaker, there is too much wastage in this country. Too much wastage in the form of recurrent expenditure. Too much wasted. In the budget, supplementary budget we have passed, you remember very well, and this the country needs to know, the office of the president and the office of the deputy president spent around almost about 11 billion 11 billion. And Article 2 to 3 that we had come to regularize. Honorable Speaker, in a country that has got a huge budget deficit, spending that kind of money is surely being unfair to the people of Kenya and being unjust to the people who live in this country. We must, as a matter of fact, be able to live within our means. Honorable Speaker, this particular report would ideally...
Going to finish?
Would ideally should have come before we pass the supplementary budget. We would have cut our cloth according to our size. We would have fitted what can fit us. Honorable Speaker, coming after is just a report for the sake of it with nothing much we can do. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, all their reports normally have good recommendations. And some of these recommendations are becoming now repeated. They're being repeated every single time. The question is, that the National Treasury ever take any efforts to read these reports and implement the recommendations of the committee. It would seem none takes it, and we just go, it's just a ritual of no value to the people of Kenya. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Thank you, honorable members. It seems like there's no more interest according to my list over here. So I think we shall put the question. Yeah, but the mover to reply first. We'll put the question later. Where is the mover? Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the honorable members for taking their time to contribute to the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on the Consolidated Fund Services under Supplementary Estimate number 1 for financial year 2025-2026. The committee is grateful for the support of the House and the comments received. The committee remains committed to strengthening parliamentary oversight over public debt, statutory expenditures, and the broader fiscal framework. It is our expectation that the adoption and the implementation of the recommendations contained in this report will contribute to improved debt management, enhanced fiscal transparency and accountability, and better safeguarding of physical space for prioritizing national programs. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to reply.
Thank you, honorable members. The question shall be put at an appropriate time. Next order.
Shughuli ya 13 hoja, ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wa kati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, kuendelezwa kwa mjadala uliositishwa.
Honorable members, it seems that Honorable Rene Mayaka is not here, so we shall defer it to a later time. Okay, I'm informed that it was continuation of debate. Do we have the list of who was the last person who spoke and who had time? The honorable member, I think Mason, he was a member. He had a balance of time about 3 minutes. It's not here. Members who are interested in contributing to this debate, kindly press the intervention button. Yes, proceed, Honorable Owen.
If you allow me, Honorable Speaker, that we defer this for now so that this debate can pick up another time and move on to the next, Honorable Speaker. I'm unable to actually read and understand what is written here, but
despite my background.
That's very serious, and your background is from
despite
the
my background, you know, I've been trying to look for the word ushoroba, what it means, and I have not, understood what ushoroba is. So, Honorable Speaker, I beg your indulgence.
Okay. I think I agree, especially because the mover is not here. Can we move to the next order?
Order number 14, motion, reports of Kenyan delegations to the 147th, 148th, 149th, and 150th assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings.
Member for Dagoretti South, is your motion.
Madam Speaker, I want to first thank you. I also want to thank this Parliament for having very strong delegations that we send to these very important international parliaments. I know that there are members from this House who are members of the Commonwealth Parliament. I know others who are members of other parliaments that are regional and others that are international. And there are also us who are members of the Interparliamentary Union. Madam Speaker, the Interparliamentary Union is a very important parliament. In fact, in every sense of the word, it is the parliament of parliaments. It is where decisions by parliaments are made and then implemented locally, and those that need to be escalated are also escalated to the requisite bodies, up to and including the United Nations. The Kenyan Parliament has been very active in the IPU, and I want to remember that some time back, almost a decade ago, Kenya actually hosted the IPU sessions here in Nairobi. And Madam Speaker, the IPU is an amazing parliament to be a member of, a part of, because rarely does IPU hold their sittings in the same city in successive sittings. And so any member who is keen to understand the geopolitics of this world, to understand the politics of our time, and to understand the politics of the nations, would be keen to be a member of this IPU. Madam Speaker, allow me to also thank and congratulate our Deputy Speaker, Madam Gladys Boss, who is normally our desk officer at IPU. As we would understand, IPU has been domiciled in Senate as the lead house. However, the National Assembly does also take leadership of IPU, and here in the National Assembly, our leader, our team leader, has been the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Gladys Boss, and we want to thank her. Madam Speaker, we also want to thank the Speaker of this House for the great support that he has been giving this Parliament and the members of this Parliament, even as we conduct this international duty. Madam Speaker, this afternoon I rise to move that this House adopts the reports of the 148th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and related meetings that were held in Geneva, Switzerland, and this was between 23rd and 27th of March 2024, that we also consider the report of the Kenya Parliament delegation to the 149th Assembly and the related meetings that were also held in Geneva, Switzerland, and also for us to consider the report of the Kenya Parliamentary delegation to the 150th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and the related meetings that were held between 5th to 9th of April 2025 in a very unique address This was the IPU that was in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. And I want to agree that the members who are members of this delegation, up to and including the Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, Honorable Senator Catherine Muma, our leader of delegation, who was the Honorable Millie Odhiambo, myself, being the president of the committee to promote the respect for international humanitarian laws, as the delegation that went to Tashkent, we can report that not only were the deliberations very useful, but it was also a great opportunity for honorable members of this House to be able to be